Yo, what's going on? What is going on tonight? We got rival teams playing tonight. We got the Lakers and we got the Celtics. Oh man, supposed to be a pretty good night tonight in the NBA. You got Luka and LeBron. You got Jaylen Brown and his team. His teammate Jason Tatum. Battling tonight for, well, in modern era, it's just a regular season game. But historically, this would be a definitely must-see TV. I know, I'm seeing online that they advertising it as a marquee game, as a rekindle of the rivalry. And as I look at that, I'm like, man, I'm trying to get excited for it. But, I'm wondering, man, is there gonna be any load management tonight? Is LeBron playing? Is Luka playing? Is any of the stars from Boston playing? You gotta worry about that nowadays. I know they better play because them tickets are expensive. I heard the cheapest ticket is $750, and for a courtside seat, it's $25,000. That's expensive. So with them prices, I don't think they're gonna be load management. I don't think the NBA is gonna allow them to load manage. It's a weekend, it's a Saturday. So and it's getting close to playoff time, so they need to be playing. But I remember watching a game last year, a regular season game, and LeBron and AD was sitting out. So, with this new age NBA, who knows? But as I sat back and thought about rivalries in the NBA, I'm like, man, there's no real rivalries. And anybody that watched the NBA back in the 80s and 90s, when you thought about rivalries in the NBA, first thing that came to mind was probably the Lakers and the Celtics, Magic versus Bird. Maybe Boston versus 76ers. Of course, you thought about Bulls versus Pistons, uh, Lakers versus Pistons, right? And you had reason to get ready for the game because you knew the teams was gonna come out and play hard. That was pretty much the '80s rivalry, and what made rivalries back in the day was things that happened in the matchup. They were rivalries by definition. The definition of rivalry is competition for the same objective or for superiority in the same field. That's the actual definition of rivalry. A competition of superiority, right? One player, one team trying to prove that they better than the next to get to that prize. It was about winning. It wasn't about nothing else. That's what made the 80s beautiful, because it was about winning. They weren't trying to be pretty. They weren't trying to go for stats. They was trying to go for W's. So, that's the 80s. Go into the 90s, you could throw in Portland and the Lakers. Then you had the ending of the Pistons and the Bulls. But then what started up was, well, let me go back a little bit. In the late 80s, early 90s, Bulls and Cavs. Jordan hitting that hanging shot from the foul line on Elo. After that, Michael Jordan got booed severely every time he touched the ball in Cleveland. I mean, every single time he touched the ball, they'll boo, he'll pass, they'll stop booing, but every time he got the ball in his hand, it was boo central. I mean, they hated Michael Jordan for that shot. If you don't believe me, go back and find a game. In fact, I got one on tape. It may be in my videos, but if they didn't block it. But you can go to any game with the Bulls in Cleveland after he hit that shot. After he hit that first shot. And you'll hear Cavs fans booing him to death. It was crazy. So, the young fans like to think Michael Jordan was celebrated his whole career. No, he wasn't. He was known to be a great individual player. And this is coming from a Bulls fan who loved Michael Jordan. But, in comparison to Larry, Magic, and Isaiah Thomas, he was, number 2.5, or he was number 3 because he kept, losing Isaiah Thomas. You always heard Jordan, Bird, and Magic. Didn't really hear Isaiah as much, but when you start looking at results in the 80s and what happened when they met in the playoffs, then, all that trash that Isaiah Thomas been talking, hey, as much as I hate to admit it, he was absolutely right. So Jordan was he used to get booed like crazy in Cleveland. And then in the early 90s, it was still Bulls and Cavs, but then you throw in the Bulls and Knicks. The Knicks was they had got Pat Riley in 92. Pat Riley had he stopped coaching the Lakers. He took a couple years off. He took a year off, and then I think he took a couple years off because in 91, I think he stopped coaching in 1990. In 91, Mike Dunleavy took over. They went to the finals. And then in 92, he took a year off. In 92, Pat Riley joined the Knicks and tried to turn them into the new bad boys. Right? The difference is by that time, Jordan, Pippen, and the rest of the team was already built for, that physical treatment. They was built physically and mentally for that kind of treatment. See, that's the other thing about the game that a lot of fans, younger fans, don't understand, is that the game was mental back then. There were mental, psychological games being played. So, for example, if a player get injured today, he'll make it clear that he's injured, right? That he got a hurt wrist or something. But back in the day, you better not tell nobody you got a hurt wrist, because, they might pretend like they was reaching for the ball and slap that wrist pretty good. And then now your shot ain't the same, or now you got to go sit down, or, it affect your game, Yeah, you could say it's cheap and it's, but whatever. But that's what, players had to play, that they had to endure. They had to, see, they talk a lot about players playing injured back then, and they did. But there was a lot of times when players didn't let it be known they was injured because they didn't want to become a target. They didn't want their injury to become a target. Or if it came out that they was injured, they'll downplay it. Yeah, it's I heard it, but it's okay now. It feels much better, They try to make it clear because they don't want nobody testing that injury out, testing to see, is it really your wrist really that good? Okay, let me test it out for you. See, and young NBA fans don't understand that. That was, that's why players were a little bit mentally tougher back in the day, because you had to be to survive out there. That translated into the playground. The attitude of the playground across the world, well, at least in the United States, it was pretty much the same. You had to be tough. You had to be. You had to play with a certain, mentality. And it didn't matter if he was the excellent player or the sorriest player on the court. You had to play with a certain attitude. And so you don't really see that anymore. But yeah, so when New York tried to become bullies to the Bulls, it didn't really work. The Bulls were still beating them. You know. Now the Knicks got their revenge when Michael retired. But then in '96, when Jordan came back, they played the Knicks again in the playoffs, and they got sent home like they were supposed to in '94. They was never supposed to beat the Bulls, but they did. And we all know the only reason why they beat the Bulls in '94 was that bogus makeup call that they did on Scottie Pippen. See, in '93, people claim that Scottie Pippen in that Game 5 in New York fouled Charles Smith, and that was a no call. And the Bulls ended up stealing Game 5 in New York and closed out the Knicks in Game 6. That was a year the Knicks went up 2-0. Starks dunked on Jordan and Horace Grant, that whole thing, and after that game, the Knicks didn't win another game that series, right? And people feel like that Game 5, the Bulls got away with one, and Scottie got away with one in that Game 5. So fast forward to '94, Game 5 in New York, final seconds, Pippen went up to contest the shot and fouled, I believe it was Hubert Davis or Greg Anthony or somebody. They got him for a foul, and they ended up losing that game. Would have been nice had they won that game, because Pippen would have got past New York without Michael Jordan in that 6 when he dunked on Patrick Ewing. Man, that would have been the best newspaper front page item in the history of sports. Is Scottie Pippen standing over Patrick Ewing after he dunked on him, and the headlines reading, Scottie stands tall and, lead the Bulls to victory or something, over the Knicks without MJ, because that, honestly, in my opinion, was the only thing that kept them from winning the championship. People want to say, oh, they would have had problems against, Hakeem and all this stuff. Hey, whatever. That's another topic for another day. But, we talking about the rivalry right now. So, the early to mid '90s, it was the Bulls and Knicks. '94, you could throw in the Knicks and the Pacers. Going into the late '90s, you could also throw in the Bulls and the Heat, the Knicks and the Heat. It's funny how Pat Riley and his teams are always a part of some rivalry, right? Pat Riley was a different kind of coach, and I'll talk about coaching in a minute. But so you had those rivalries going on, man. And we had them rivalries, man. It was so much fun. I mean, you look forward to watching the games, man. You go back, then you go further, going into the late '90s, early 2000s. You got the Lakers and the Blazers. Then you got the Lakers and the Kings. That was a real good rivalry right there, man. If you go back and look at them Lakers and Kings rivalries, man, that mess was intense. It was must see TV all the way. You know what I mean? So, um, you keep going down the road, and Then you run into the who else was rivalries after that? I'm trying to think. I think it was it went back to the Bulls and the Heat again, right? Um, when after the Heat won the championship in 2005, uh, in 2006 they played the 8 seed Bulls team and got swept and got swept. An 8 seed Bulls team, and see, I call that version of the Bulls team the Party Crashers. Man, I love that from 2006 all the way to I want to say 2012 when the D Rose did that whole era. Those were the Party Crashers. That was the Party Crashing Bulls team because they not only did they knock out the Knicks, I'm not the Knicks, but they knocked out the Heat, defending champs. See, here's the thing. uh the NBA was trying to make Shaq and D Wade another Shaq and Kobe, another Shaq and Penny. You know, they like the copycat, right? So D Wade and Shaq was supposed to be the next 1-2, you know. And if you remember NBA back then, they were trying to get D Wade's numbers up to about 30 points a game. And to do that, what they were doing is they kept sending him to the line. He was always getting fouled. He was always going to the line getting fouled. Whatever, right? So that was supposed to be the next thing. And the Bulls crashed that party. And so now, moving forward, now LeBron joins the Heat. He goes through that whole taking this challenge to Miami thing. And then they go on that 27 game winning streak. Almost about to catch the Lakers 31 or 33 game winning streak, regular season winning streak. Came against Chicago. Chicago beat them. Crashed that party again. Party crasher strike again. And then you go to the Eastern Conference Finals. Again, LeBron and his Miami Heat team, Eastern Conference Finals, game 1. Bulls win. And I think that's when all the powers that be stepped in and said, hey, man, we can't have this party being crashed again. So you saw, a lot of people don't realize this, but I saw it because I was watching the Bulls since Pat Riley. I mean, since the '90s, since Pat Riley was with the Knicks. But Pat Riley took over that after the Bulls lost. After the Bulls won, beat the Heat game 1. Pat Riley took over that team because I started seeing things from the Heat that I used to see with New York. I didn't see it. I didn't see it in years. They started working on using Udonis Haslem a lot to do a lot of things he used to have Charles Oakley and Anthony Mason do. You didn't see this all year long from the Heat. You didn't see it in the playoffs at all. But after the Bulls won game 1, I started seeing versions of the old school Knicks and the Heat when he coached them. And they even showed pictures of him, not pictures, but clips of him like in the locker room with Spoelstra and everybody. And I'm just like, yeah, this is Pat Riley saying, we're not doing this no more. We ain't doing this again, you know. Oh, I forgot to mention, the fact that, well, I ain't going to talk about LeBron and the number 23 and him not being able to wear it in Miami. But anyway, you know, Pat Riley came in, stepped in, and they won that game. Now, then the next year, now the Bulls had reloaded. To me, this was the year for them to win the championship. D Rose got hurt. He got cleared to play in March of that season, but he didn't play. because they said he was having anxiety and fear of injuring himself again, but it just didn't make no sense. The Bulls ended up meeting Miami again, and they did okay. That was when they had Nate Robinson. Remember, Nate Robinson was, man, he was playing out of his mind. Nate Robinson, one of them spark plug players that don't get the recognition he deserved. Kind of like Rajon Rondo with when he was with the Celtics. He's a key reason why he was a key reason to their success. Nate Robinson that year was a key reason for the Bulls, success and that toughness that they played with, because they still gave Miami a run for their money, even without D Rose. Now, if they had D Rose on their team, because that's what they was missing, was that extra score, but had they had D Rose, Bulls would have beat Miami, and that would have put an end to or that would have crashed the party of this LeBron show that we witnessed today. All that whole series, that whole time period, is the reason why the NBA is what it is today, because they said, no, we have to control the narrative. We have to control the narrative from now on. And so now you see all these other little gimmicks and everything happening in the NBA right now. The focus is on everything else but basketball. You know what I mean? So they focusing on a lot of other stuff. And it's all because of whatever plans they have for LeBron to be the GOAT, to be better to eclipse MJ, to get that so that they can get that money that they was able to get off Michael Jordan over the years. They trying to do the same thing with LeBron. And it's just whatever. But like I said, man, it killed the rivalries. There's no more rivalries now. Man, like, for example, everybody, okay, this is Lakers and Celtics in the regular season. Do y'all remember, anybody that's listening to this, if you're still listening, and you remember rivalries during the regular season, there was a certain label for those. Those wasn't just regular games. Those wasn't just regular season games. Remember what they called them? Statement games. Remember statement games? A statement game was a team, the rival teams get together. Maybe they made some off-season trades, to get ready for each other down the road in the playoffs or in the finals. And the statement game was, hey, okay, you getting our best competition. This is what we gonna do to y'all when we see you in the playoffs. When we meet in the finals. Expect this level of treatment that you're about to get tonight. You know what I mean? Oh, y'all beat us last time. Oh, no, okay, y'all beat us last time. Hey, maybe even last regular season game. You made your statement last game. Okay, here is our rebuttal from y'all, beating us last game. We gonna tear you to pieces. Or, hey, yeah, we beat y'all last game, and tonight, guess what? We gonna do it again, and this time even worse. It was all it was never, it wasn't a regular game. You could tell it, you could sense it by the fans in the stands. It was a playoff atmosphere. Even the commentators, they were in playoff mode. I mean, it felt like a playoff or NBA Finals game in the regular season. That's when you're dealing with rival teams. There's bad blood in between. There's usually, the teams met over the years, and there was either, there was a team that kept winning, or they was going back and forth. There was some type of fight or mix up, or was something going on. Somebody said something in the media. That was the other thing, especially going back to the 90s Bulls, man. Phil Jackson used to plant seeds and say little things in the media about the other team. I remember one year in New York, and I think it was 93, he said, they was asking him, what do you think about the Knicks and chances of winning? He said, I think they're too old. And he said a bunch of stuff. And he says something about an accumulation of personal failure. I'm like, oh, wow. I mean, Phil Jackson used to go in on teams in the public and or in the media. They would use the media to to go back and say, hey man, so and so said this about you. You know what I mean? Or it was just a different time, man. So, again, rivalries is what's missing in the NBA. And that's also what's contributing to people no longer being interested in the NBA. Is there's no more rivalries. Uh, this may sound little, but it's actually big when you understand rivalries and celebrating your team. But this constant change of jerseys and playing in retro jerseys and home team playing their home, or playing wearing road jerseys, and the road the road team is wearing their home. All that stuff is just, it's taken away from the excitement. Because it was, I don't know about you, it was something about when the team came on, when you went to the game, or when the team came on, when you was watching the game on TV. I used to put my Jordan jersey on, my little red Jordan jersey on, and watch the game. Or if I had a chance to go to the game, I would put a jersey on. And it was nice to put the jersey on, had a jersey on, the same jersey that your team is wearing, that you're watching on TV, or you watching in person, the same exact jersey. I mean, I understand changing it up sometime, but man, they're doing it way too much. And it's just, I just don't like it. That's just my personal opinion. And going back to the rivalries and debates for your, with your friends, man. I have a friend that's a diehard Laker fan, man. We used to go back and forth. We used to call each other, like right now, like game not on yet, right? But like, even though my team not playing for the day, because I know he a Laker fan, today I'm gonna be a Boston fan. I'm going for Boston tonight. You know what I mean? And I might call him up, and I may have some stuff to say about him, about his team. Hey man, your team is, hey man, they're about to get waxed. And I might tell him some stuff that's gonna happen during the game. Sometime it happens. I'm a Bulls fan, he a Laker fan. We used to go back and forth. I remember telling him one time, man, I was like, hey man, Randy Brown is about to posterize your whole team. Watch. And he was like, Randy Brown, man, what are you talking about, man? Randy Brown, he ain't even gonna get no playing time, I'm like, now see, Randy Brown played on the second championship team. He was considered a small guy, probably no taller than 6'3". He was a defender, more so than a scorer, but he had a leaping ability. And the only way you knew that is if you watch Bulls games, because every now and then he'll pull a rabbit out the hat, and he'll dunk, and he'll dunk on people. He don't have a ton of highlights, but if you go in my videos and you find a Bulls versus Celtics a 96 video, I think there's a couple plays in where he steals the ball and he posterizes Rick Fox when he was with the Celtics, when Rick Fox was on the Celtics. So this particular game, it was a really good game against Chicago. Man, the Lakers was tearing the Bulls up in Chicago, and the Bulls made a quick run. And there was one sequence where the Bulls was on the fast break, and Scottie Pippen threw a bounce pass to Randy Brown, and he caught it, and went up. He was a lefty, so he went up with one arm and cocked it back and smashed on right in the face of Eldon Campbell and I think Jerome Kersey. Somebody, it was like two people he dunked on, man. And I jumped up and I got on the phone to call my friend. He did not answer the phone. Because he knew why I was calling him. Because I was going, I told you. Yeah. He was going to dunk on your whole, you know what I'm saying? Where's that at, man? Is that, do fans today have that experience when they calling up their homeboys? And, well, I guess they wouldn't. They'll call, they'll text and get online and start talking mess or whatever. But, man, it was just something about the rivalry and the spirit of the rivalry and the competition that made the NBA fun back then. It wasn't about all this stats and GOAT debate and stuff, man, it was about the game, dude. It was about whose team is gonna win, watching them win the championship, man. I mean, it was nice to see your player win the MVP and all that stuff, but it was, at the end of the day, it was like, yo, man, the championship, man, the championship. You want to see some highlights, if you're a Bulls fan, you was gonna get some highlights. That was the beautiful thing about being a Bulls fan, is that you was gonna, Pippen, Jordan, Horace Grant, they was gonna posterize somebody. They was gonna do something nice, you know. It was just, different. And so hopefully, and this is where, like I said, last video, where I agree with Channing Frye, I hope the NBA go back to team-oriented basketball. Because to me, I think that's the only way that's the only way the NBA gets back to itself, is by going back to team-oriented sports, or team-oriented basketball, and get away from all the, the other stuff that they got going on. I don't, I'm not even going to touch on that. But anyway, that's all I got to say about this. Again, this rivalry is it's a good rivalry. It'd be nice if they could bring, that rivalry back to the NBA. Get rid of this load management stuff. And it'd be nice to watch the NBA and be happy to watch it, instead of looking at it like, man, okay, he got the ball, he about to shoot a three. Okay, he missed it. Okay, he actually went to the hole this time. And then, the next few plays after that, you see it's all threes. That's what I'm hoping I don't see tonight, is a bunch of threes. That's the one thing about the Celtics, the last couple of years when I watched them, they don't always rely on threes. I've seen them play different style. I've seen them mix it up a little bit. That's part of what I like about New York, and what Thibodeau's, the way he's coaching the team. And even though they do shoot a gang of threes, but when Julius Randle's in there, they could use him to, that they post him up and kind of play a more traditional style. So, anyway, that's pretty much it. Tell me what you think, man. Y'all ready for the rivalry? Y'all hope it come back? Who y'all got tonight? I'm going to say, let me see. Let's say the Lakers win tonight. They're at home. The Lakers going to win. I'm going to say the score is going to be 110 Lakers, and Boston going to probably have 90. No. I'm going to make it a better game. 105 Boston, 110 Lakers. Lakers going to take it. 110-105. That's going to be the final score. All right. Y'all be easy.